Okay, this is an 88 Chevy conversion van with a Chevy V8 gas engine in it, throttle body injection. I'll cover the thermostat first in case that's all you need to do. So if you need to do a thermostat, you're going to need to really remove the dog box. You can probably do it without that, but it's going to be a real bear to do. To remove the dog box, there's 2 bolts in the floor, one here, there's be one over here, and then you fold those feet up. There is a bolt here and here, which I believe was behind the ashtray when you open the ashtray up. Once you get it pulled out, you're gonna undo this. This is your power socket for the cigarette lighter. This is a fiber optic lead to light up your ashtray and stuff. You need to undo the latch on both sides, completely undo them. Don't just snap them, completely unlatch them. Okay? Then you're going to grab it at the back here, and you're going to pull up on it. And you're going to start pulling up and like going back with it. It helps if the seats are all the way back. This seat is their captain seats in this van, so I actually have this one tilted. It's a pain in the ass to do because there is a seal. So, but once you do that, there's your thermostat right there. To get that housing off, you're going to take the stud bolt out of the driver's side. You could take that nut off on the passenger side. It's holding a ground. It's holding the bracket for the transmission dipstick tube. And then there's a steel bracket going up to the back of the tensioner there. There's a nut on the back of the tensioner. There's a bolt that goes straight through the tensioner. And there's a second bracket on the back of the tensioner right here that runs through and down to right there on the cylinder head. All those need to be undone. Remove the tensioner so you can lift that housing off. This one had a paper gasket and a regular thermostat in there. I'm not sure if they all will, or if some of them are going to have the thermostat that does not use the paper gasket and has the rubber ring. When you put this back together, you do want to put RTV or something on the threads of those 2 stud bolts before you run them into the intake so they don't leak. And then put the dog box back together, fill everything back up. Okay? The water pump. The water pump is the main reason for this video. So after you've got everything drained, next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to take the washer bottle off, get the washer pump unmounted from all this and out of the way. If there's a vacuum canister here, take it off, get it out of your way. You're going to break this stuff. Just get it out of your way. I've done enough of these vans to know what's going to break. So the fan shroud is actually 2 pieces. If nobody's ever messed with it, it's stapled together. Okay? So you need to remove the staples however you see fit. And then there's a bolt on the top on each corner, and remove the brackets. You're also going to want to remove the brackets that hold the top of the radiator on. So that's these. Okay? With the rubber isolators. Once you take those off, you've got the staples out, and those other 2 bolts, top of the shroud lifts right up out of your way. Then you can grab the bottom of the shroud, which is just held in with clips, and you're going to pull that up out of the way. And now you're wide open here. I mean, you can take the fan off before you do the bottom shroud, probably be easier, but you know, you probably can even get away with not even taking that bottom shroud off. But the more room you got, the better, so you don't damage that radiator. Now when you put this back together, when you're all done, you're going to clip this back in where it goes, and then you're going to put the top on. Put his brackets back on, all that stuff, but you're going to put the top back on here, and see there's pins, and they match these holes. So what I did was I got some squeeze, I bolted the shroud completely back in where it goes, then I lined these up, and I put a squeeze clamp on each side. Then I went and I grabbed some of these big ass self-drilling screws, and I ran them through both halves. Don't run them through till you strip them out. Just run them through so it holds them together. Take the squeeze clamps back off, you're done. It ain't going nowheres. If you want to get fancy, while this is out, same thing. Go ahead and put the two halves laid out, put the two halves together, clamp them together, drill holes through them, put a speed clip on the bottom one, and a bolt that'll fit that speed clip to go through the top, if you really want to get all kinds of fancy on us. Now, moving on. So, to get this water pump off, you're going to take your shroud off, you're going to take all this crap off that I told you. You're going to flip the hood straight up in the air, because we got air conditioning, everything else in the way. You're going to take off your fan. You're going to take off your belt. This is 16 millimeter here. The tensioner does not need to come off to do the water pump. Okay, you just need the belt off. Once you have the belt off, and this is what we use to get the belt off. We used a tool, but we used a 3-inch extension, because you need to get out past this receiver dryer. It's just in the damn way to get to move this far enough to get it off of the alternator. So once the belt's off and out of the way, your fan is obviously already off. This pulley's gone. Drain pans, if you haven't already done it, drain your stuff in the pans. This bottom hose is very close to that belt. This is a brand new Continental hose, and it was not a cut to fit, and it is very close there. Okay, I don't like that, but it's something to make note of when you put this back together. That's why I put a nut on here, just to hold this in place so I could get the belt on before I had the fan on and everything, to make sure I still had clearance here, because the first time I put it on, this belt was twisted here, and luckily I noticed it, because it would have sawed right through that brand new hose. So just remember that when you're putting this back together, to make sure that that hose is clearanced down there. Now, the next thing to get this water pump off, you're going to have to take off this bracket here. Crazy old man here threw a fit yesterday because this bracket was on here. He thought he had to take half the truck apart. You don't have to take half the damn truck apart. So it may seem that way. You have to remove this bolt right here. That's 13 millimeter deep to get to that. You got to remove this nut. You're going to remove this idler pulley from the engine. You're going to remove the pulley from this air pump. It's 3 10 millimeter bolts. Once you get them off, there is a bolt directly behind the pulley right here, and it is about 6 inches long, goes through everything and into the block. That is the last thing holding this bracket off. Once you pull this bracket off, you've got a bolt stud, a bolt, and a bolt. And then the pump comes off. Clean everything out, flush everything out. We flushed everything, even up here. I pulled these heater core hoses off, flushed the heater core both ways. I actually had this out earlier today because this was plugged solid at the bottom of the overflow container. So to pull the overflow out, you're going to take the squeeze clamp off. You're going to twist this back and forth gently to break the seal. Pull the hose off. And you're going to remove these 2 bolts. And then you can lift this up and twist it a little bit and it'll come off. There is, on the bottom of this, there's a flat blade sticking straight down. And on the radiator support, there's a pocket sticking out that it has to go into when you put it back together, which is why you have to take this bracket off. I initially tried just undoing this bolt, but I couldn't get it back in to where that blade would go back in the pocket at the bottom. And the only way to clean this was to remove it, flip it upside down, go after it with the garden hose and stuff to get the mud and muck out of there, and then blow this line through to make sure it was clear. But I'm talking fast and I'm trying to not make the video be so long. So when you put this back on, make sure everything is clean on the block. We even took the garden hose and we shoved it up in the block on both sides, trying to get as much crap out of the block as we could. Make sure these are all cleaned really good. This was a brand new water pump, not a rebuilt one. This brand new door last. The hoses we bought were Continentals. I think thermostat gasket was, I don't even remember. It's been a long day. Thermostat gasket was Felpro. Here's the part number. Here's the thermostat we ordered. Turn off the light. There you go. Maybe that helped. You see it? This came with a plug. You want to put thread seal on a plug. Make sure you run that in good and tight, because some engines actually use that. So they just, I guess, put it on all the pumps now. The pump we took out must have been a factory one. There was just a blank there. So once you've got this all buttoned back up, I do suggest putting RTV or Right Stuff on both sides of the gaskets before you stick it up in there. And put RTV on these bolts, because these bolts are going into water jackets, and it will leak coolant out of those if you don't put some type of sealer on the bolts themselves. Here is your diagram. If you want to pause the video, this is your diagram for the belt. This is the crank pulley, air pump, idler pulley, air conditioner. This is your belt tensioner, alternator, power steering, and your water pump. So that is how the belt goes on. I think that's about it. This is the body style of the van. I think I had done a previous video. This van sat like 20-25 years next to the garage under a tree at my dad's old house, and he decided this year he was bored, he ain't got nothing to do, so we sent a tow truck to go get it from the old house where my brother lives now and drag it over. And we've done a fuel tank, a fuel pump, a fuel filter, and then the alternator was bad. We get the alternator done, put a brand new belt on it because the belt was split from being so old. Then the water pump, as soon as we started, the water pump started blowing everywhere. So piece by piece, I guess we are going to be working our way through this van. But it's a 1988 rust-free van. Somehow it survived, and it is not rotten anywhere, which is kind of amazing in South Jersey. But I guess it came off the road before they started spraying brine all over the place and wrecking everybody's cars. But I digress. So hopefully this helps you guys, because knowing how to get this bracket apart, this bracket off, just to get this damn pump off, that's a huge thing. I tried for like 20 minutes searching videos for him yesterday while I was working on something else. I could not find anything on doing a water pump on this particular model van that had the AC compressor here and the alternator on the driver's side. All the ones I saw, the alternator was over here, and they were non-AC vehicles. I'm thinking they were express vans or something. Or they were V6s, I don't know. But again, I hope this helps you guys out. As just a quick overview of how to get this the bracket off to get the water pump off. Okay? Like and subscribe.